The world is gradually realizing that there is just one solution to Chinese belligerence: India. India is the only country that gave a literal bloody nose to China when it beat up Chinese soldiers during the Galwan clash in 2020. India shares a tense border with China and has a navy that has turned China's Indian Ocean dreams into nightmares. India is ever ready to take on China. So, naturally, countries of the free world are seeking alliances with India, and the latest player is Indonesia, which has its own set of disputes and issues with China, and for Jakarta, it's time to settle scores with the help of New Delhi. Hi, and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Shubhangi, and in this video, I will tell you how the China-Indonesia tussle is heating up and India has come to Indonesia's rescue. Let's begin. Indonesia is on the verge of facing a major armed conflict with China and has therefore decided to warm up to India. As per The Economic Times, an Indian daily newspaper, Indonesia has sought defense technology from New Delhi in a bid to improve its security apparatus and counteract Chinese expansionism in the region. According to ET, Jakarta is looking forward to a joint defense production with India on Indonesian soil so that Indonesia can acquire skills in defense technology. Meanwhile, the traditionally volatile relationship between Indonesia and China has deteriorated further, with China demanding that Indonesia stop oil and gas drilling in the Natuna Islands and Indonesia considering sending in fishermen to report irregular activities in the waters north of the islands. Now, looking back at history, within Indonesia, there is a perpetual animosity against China and communism. In the 1950s and 1960s, the Sino-Indonesian relationship was on good terms under the reign of President Sukarno. At that time, Indonesia's PKI was the third largest communist party in the world and was one of the big winners in the first general election of 1955. Yet in the mid-1960s, anti-Chinese sentiment and anti-communism peaked in Indonesia. The PKI started to be seen as a threat to anti-communist politicians and the right-wing leadership of the country's army. So there were three main actors: President Sukarno, the PKI, and the army. So, on September 30th, 1965, a team of left-wing soldiers abducted several right-wing military bosses on the pretext of protecting Sukarno from a coup. Ultimately, Major General Suharto reacted to the vacuum in leadership, took control of affairs, and defeated the movement. The army accused the PKI of leading the planned coup. In an article of the Conversation website, a historian wrote that this triggered the largest anti-communist purge and mass killings in modern-day Indonesia. After assuming power in 1967, Suharto instituted what was called the New Order. His regime continued to fan anti-communist sentiment as it was the main driving factor behind his rise to power and continued rule till 1998. In today's Indonesia, China is hated for many reasons. Many of them feel that China, as a communist state, was responsible for the September 30th movement. Others see China as capitalist given the visibility of ethnic Chinese entrepreneurs in the country, and yet others hate China because of an imperialist history due to the Yuan dynasty's invasion of Java in the 13th century. Then there are other socio-economic issues also. Chinese workers are allowed to work in nickel and stainless steel mining projects in the Southeast Asian nation, and locals are unhappy over how Chinese citizens find employment in Indonesia, while local unemployment keeps rising. Also, there are fears regarding growing Chinese influence in Indonesia in terms of its imports. Finally, Indonesia is the most populous Muslim-majority country with over 230 million followers of Islam. Therefore, Beijing's ill treatment of Muslim Uyghurs in the Xinjiang province is a contentious issue in the Southeast Asian nation. The relationship between Beijing and Jakarta is already quite fragile, and now the Natuna Islands dispute is becoming a major flashpoint between Indonesia and China. The Natuna Islands are an integral part of Indonesia, and Indonesia is not generally considered a part of the South China Sea disputes either. However, Chinese expansionism knows no bounds. China's Nine-Dash Line doesn't intersect with the Natuna Islands, but the island's 200-mile exclusive economic zone overlaps with the Chinese claim by about 50,000 square meters. and this is the root of territorial disputes between Jakarta and Beijing. China does not dispute Indonesia's sovereignty over the Natuna Islands, but it claims historic maritime rights in areas overlapping with this part of Indonesia's exclusive economic zone. Beijing's hawkishness and insistence on exploiting Indonesia's exclusive economic zone reinvigorate anti-Chinese sentiment in Indonesia. As such, Indonesia's President Joko Widodo doesn't pursue a hostile China policy, but given the public opinion, he simply cannot refuse to take on China and assert Indonesian sovereignty over the Natuna Islands. And for that, he needs India. The Natuna Islands dispute is a long-standing issue in Sino-Indonesian relations. However, things went a little too far when China asked the Indonesian government to stop drilling for oil and natural gas near the Natuna Islands on the grounds that the region was Chinese territory. Indonesian authorities, on the other hand, are considering creating a maritime militia of their own and sending in fishermen to inspect irregular Chinese activities in the disputed region. Colonel Vishnu Pramandita, the spokesman for the Maritime Security Agency, also disclosed plans to train and pay fishermen to join patrols by the agency and the Navy. These are signs of a building conflict. China actively denying Indonesian sovereignty in the region, and Indonesia finding ways to counteract Chinese belligerence. It was under such circumstances that India's Deputy National Security Advisor Pankaj Saran travelled to Jakarta last week and met the Indonesian Defence Minister Prabowo Subianto. Expanding defence partnership and joint defence production were the key items on the agenda during the Indian officials' visit to the Southeast Asian nation. Presently, Indonesia may be looking forward to using fishermen for inspecting Chinese activity. However, Jakarta clearly looks at an inflating conflict that could actually involve the use of military firepower. Indonesia is preparing for a likely armed conflict with China, and New Delhi has therefore come to Indonesia's rescue.